for January 21st, 2025 to order. Before the clerk takes a roll call, Patrick is online tonight. He has a bug that he thankfully doesn't want to spread from us, so he will be participating remotely. So I'll now
Good
turn it over to
evening,
the clerk
everyone.
to take the roll call.
Trustee Ayani. Present. Trustee Daly.
Present.
Trustee Gavanis absent. Trustee Leahy.
Here.
Trustee Maderas.
Here.
And Trustee Powers.
You could all stand and join me in the pledge.
Here.
Okay, we have the presentation of the village board meeting minutes from January 7th, 2025. If I could, are there any questions or clarifications? If not, if I could have a motion to approve.
Motion?
There is a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Ayani. Four. Daly. Four. Gavanis absent. Leahy.
4.
Maderas.
4.
Powers.
4.
Okay, do we have any presentations this evening, Carrie Ann?
We do not.
Okay. Under President's comments, I have one item, kind of a bittersweet moment. It's probably good for her, not so good for the village, but I have a proclamation recognizing Melody Craven for 29 years of service with the village of Itasca. And this is kind of interesting that 3 of the board members up here have been here for your entire career at the village. So I'd like to read the proclamation for Melody. It says, whereas Melody Craven is retiring from her position after 29 years of dedicated service with the village of Itasca on January 24th, 2025. Melody began her career with the village of Itasca as a part-time file clerk on December 5th, 1995, and joined staff full-time on July 3rd, 1996. Over the years, Melody has adapted to the changing needs of the organization, serving as a front desk receptionist, administrative assistant, deputy clerk, and customer service representative. Recognizing Melody's impeccable work ethic and commitment to the community, Mayor Prine encouraged Melody to run for village clerk. Melody was elected village clerk in April of 2009 and served for 8 years from 2009 to 2017 before stepping aside to focus on her family and other interests. During her years of service, Melody has given diligently of her time by answering more than 115,000 phone calls, processing an estimated 1.5 million utility bills, issuing approximately 2,000 business licenses and hundreds of liquor licenses, and assisting with the success of village events such as Itasca Fest, National Night Out, Oktoberfest, and Santa appearances at the village. Melody sacrificed hours of her time scanning village clerk's office documents to preserve the history of Itasca's government prior to Village Hall moving from 100 North Walnut Street to 550 West Irving Park Road. Because of her care, warmth, and cheer, Melody has become more than a coworker, more than an employee, more than the friendly face at the front desk. Melody has transcended labels, becoming a loyal friend and confidant to so many people who crossed her paths with her during her 29 years of faithful service to the village of Itasca. Now therefore be it resolved, I, Jeffrey J. Prine, President of the Village of Itasca, together with the Board of Trustees and the residents of the village, extend our appreciation to Melody Craven for 29 years of service to the village and our community, and wish her many more happy and productive years in the village. So congratulations, Mel, and just promise me one thing. On Monday when that telephone rings, don't answer it.
Congratulations. Good luck. Good luck.
Her
Good
arm's so
luck.
short. We need to go.
We'll come around to the front here for the picture.
Oh.
You were my left-hand person for a long time.
Congratulations, Melody.
This is my family. Itasca's been our home forever, literally forever. Just thank you to everybody. You really, truly are like family to me. I'm going to miss all of you. Thank you.
And I dressed up for the occasion.
You did. Thank you, Jeff. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, that's the extent of my comments at this moment. We'll now turn, any audience participation, Deanne? Okay. We'll turn it over to first readings, community development report. Trustee Leahy?
The first item on the agenda here is a discussion and possible, can you hear me?
Pat's got to be able to hear you.
Okay. The first item is a discussion and possible action regarding approval of a variance to section 1303-4 of the Itasca zoning ordinance to permit a third wall sign and approval of signage in the ROC district in excess of 48 square feet for MEI Systems Incorporated at 200 Pierce Road. So MEI is building, they are an Italian eyeglass machine manufacturer?
Correct.
Okay, eyeglass. Okay, glass, okay, it's just the lenses, not the frames? Okay, just the lenses. And they are building a brand-new building in the Hamilton complex, and they are requesting the two variances. The one variance is for the third sign. I believe that's because only two are probably allowed. Right?
Correct.
And this sign will be visible from I-390, which makes sense so that people can see it as they're zooming by on I-390. And the second request is for that sign that's in excess of 48 square feet. However, the three signs together don't even, they don't surpass our allowable sign square footage. So, anybody have any questions?
Members, does it, I mean, I have anything to
Or-
present? I mean, it was included in our packet. Does
Yes.
anyone?
Yeah, so we
Want them
have
to-
seen it.
Okay, anything you wanted to point out with it, or you're? Good.
Park for, does that work?
Yes.
For that. And then the third building sign is unique to their site in the fact that because they front on a corner, it's very hard to put a sign on that front of the building and then on the back for two signs. They really need them on the two streets coming up, so you're not looking over your shoulder to see it. And of course, on 390 is where they want their sign. So because their presence here internationally and their clients are not just drive-bys, but they're coming in from O'Hare and they're coming in from around the United States. And just being their USA headquarters, of course, they want the presence here in the park.
And could you state your name for the record for the
Sure,
clerk?
my name is David Duffy.
Does anyone have any questions?
Okay. Hearing none, I would move to approve a variance to section 1303-4, paragraphs B and D of the Itasca zoning ordinance to permit a third wall sign and signage in the ROC district in excess of 48 square feet at 200 Pierce Road.
There is a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Daly. 4. Gavannis absent. Leahy.
4.
Maderas.
4.
Powers.
4.
Ayani.
4.
This was the first reading, so this was the recommending vote. The official vote will be on the consent agenda in 2 weeks, and then it'll be
We
official.
like your chances.
The same people voting. Well, the variance for the sign in excess of 48 feet would go for a vote.
Yeah, it's,
The way I read it.
it is technically only for the third wall sign, but it's still only a first reading here, so it's not final decision. So we'll need to go for that second vote on both issues.
And the second item is just for information only. This is a new business license application that was received for the following business. Village staff has approved the zoning certificate for the following application: 900 Arlington LLC, 900 Arlington Heights Road. Is this the
It
Tim
is.
Sweeney?
It is. It's not Tim Sweeney anymore.
Oh.
It was purchased by the gentleman where you had seen a previous presentation about a Turkish,
Yeah.
I forget what it's called, but Business Exchange Center. And so they are going in and again, looking at potential future growth, but right now they're going in and they're using the office space, so.
Oh, okay.
And they have a separate warehouse space in another town.
So this isn't for the one-story
This isn't for the
buildings that are behind
expansion.
that, which Tim is still involved in?
Correct.
Okay, okay. I
This
thought
is
was
actually for that corner
Okay,
property.
so that's all I had.
Okay. Community and Infrastructure Committee, Trustee Ianni.
No report. I do want to follow up, though, briefly on an email that went to the board members. Obviously, with the weather, there's some concerns with the water. And over the last few weeks, we've had a few
Yeah.
breaks that Public Works has addressed pretty immediately. There was an issue today with DuPage Water Commission where they had an issue and they requested the municipalities do not use more water than they have to and retain their two-day job or their two-day allowance. Under Mike's direction and certainly Brandon Hanson's direction, who's the superintendent of utilities, those guys did a great job. They remained in touch. Carrie Ann then spoke to DuPage County when there was an issue with Nordic, so they had to get water from us, so from the village per our agreement, and our level dropped below the two-day limit that we wanted to keep in reserve, and when Carrie Ann continued to work with Paul from the chairman of the DuPage Water Commission, they resolved that. We continued to fill it. I talked to Brandon Hanson, I think it was about 5 o'clock today. They were at 90% full. He's also been in touch with Wooddale. We have the same reciprocal agreement with that neighbor. Those two are staying in touch. And at Carrie Ann's direction, and we're still keeping 2 people full-time at the plant to respond immediately as needed till the frigid weather subsides, which should be soon. Did you want to add anything to that?
No, I'm happy to answer any questions. I would say it is a fairly unprecedented, so the board knows, situation. I don't think in the years that I've been there that here or in other municipalities that I've had a situation where we've had to really look at going into our water storage, like had that say, hey, you might have to go into your water storage. I really want to commend Brandon Hansen for immediately being on this issue and working through. We do have plans in place for, other water sources, and, staff has been working kind of all day to do that. But I also want to commend DWC, because they just had a situation there. They have dual ComEd feeds, they have generators, they have backups on top of backups. And, even when you have all that, you can have something go wrong. And that's what happened there, is they had something go wrong that they weren't able to pump for a while. And all the communities in the area came together to make sure that system didn't go down. And then they have kind of a temporary bypass that's worked up right now. And in the meantime, all the municipalities that are served by DuPage Water Commission are just kind of taking measures to make sure that we don't lose water should the kind of workaround measure not be long-term. So that's why we have staff that is going to be overnight, mostly because in this kind of weather, you can easily get a water main break. And if we get a water main break, and I said that, and now they're going to be really mad that I said that out loud. You can very quickly amass some significant water loss, and that's what we're trying to avoid across not only Itasca's system, but across the system. But I would say that Itasca is in a much better position than a lot of municipalities, because we actually have 3 different sources of potential backup water, but putting them online is a I don't want to call it a Herculean effort, but it might be just short of that. It's pretty significant. So kudos to Brandon and Mike and their staffs for everything that they had to go through. And I'm going to say Brandon's name one more time, because he really carried the water on this one today. And thank you to Trustee Ianni for the update and giving us a chance to kind of acknowledge staff's good work. Thank you.
You're welcome. Again, Public Works is a pretty thankless position. Paul May with the Page Water Commission has a pretty thankless position. It's nice to recognize the people behind the curtains. Sometimes there's a lot of activity that people don't see unless the toilet doesn't flush or unless the water doesn't pop. And so we thank everyone involved and keep our fingers crossed that we'll continue on track. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Finance and Operations Committee, Trustee Powers.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'll try to be brief. The first item that I have is to enter into a contract with Blue Peak to provide tents, tables, chairs, and generators for the upcoming Oktoberfest in September of 2025. Quotes were sent out to Blue Peak, Marquee Events, and Big Tents Events. And Blue Peak came in at the lowest when you take into account that Blue Peak provides not only all the equipment, but the light towers and the generators. They kind of manage this process for us. So they come in with the most favorable quote. Just as an FYI, the amount being quoted is up around 2% from the previous year. Are there any questions?
I just, one thing, Trustee Powers, nothing makes the day warmer than talking about summer events, so this was the perfect day for this.
It's going up from here, Jeff. It's
Yes, it
going up.
is.
Yeah. If there are no questions, I would like to make a motion to approve a quote with Blue Peak for tent and other equipment rentals for the Oktoberfest 2025 celebration in the amount of $34,989.50.
There is a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Gavanis absent. Trustee Leahy.
4.
Trustee Maderas.
4.
Powers.
For
Ianni.
4.
Daley.
Included in the packet then is the financial report for the 7 months ending November 30th, 2024. Revenues and interest continue to track well in relation to the budget, while expenditures continue to track below anticipated budgeted amounts. We're trending well to the operating budget and the pooled cash forecast. Jennifer, I don't know if you have anything to add. This is not a quarter end. I don't know if we want to go into any further detail or not.
Jennifer actually is not here with the cold weather. She was not able to get here
Then
this evening.
I
so-
would suggest we not have any further discussion. So are there any questions?
No further, it doesn't look like any further questions, Patrick.
No, sir.
If not, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Intergovernmental Committee, Trustee Leahy.
Yes, I have one item, and that is a discussion and possible action regarding approving an intergovernmental agreement between the Itasca Park District and the Village of Itasca regarding maintenance of the depot park at 422 West Irving Park Road. Basically, this was a request by Mary Fram to memorialize the agreement that we have with the Park District for the maintenance at the depot. Just puts it in writing. There's no questions. Everybody knows who's responsible for what. So that's what this is. Any questions? No? Okay. Then I would make a motion to enter into the intergovernmental agreement between the Itasca Park District and the Village of Itasca regarding the operations and maintenance of the depot park at 422 West Irving Park Road.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Leahy,
Four.
Maderas, Powers,
For,
Ayani,
4.
and Daley.
Just for the record, I don't know that everyone heard it, but Trustee Maderas did vote in the affirmative.
Yes.
4.
Okay, tonight's consent agenda has 3 items on it. Item A is approving Resolution 1596-25, rejecting all bids for the Ardmore Avenue Water Main Replacement Project. Item B is approving Resolution 1597-25 to adopt the Municipal League priorities of the DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference for the 2025 legislative session. And item C is approving Resolution 1598-25 to adopt the Illinois Municipal League's 2025 state legislative agenda. Are there any questions on the consent agenda? If not, I would ask for a motion to approve.
Motion?
There is a motion. Do I have?
Second.
And a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Maderas,
4.
Powers,
for,
Ayani,
4.
Daley. Gavanis, absent Leahy.
Four.
Okay, there are no items on this evening's non-consent agenda, so we will move to the payment of bills through January 21st, 2025. Trustee Powers?
thank you, Mayor. Quite a bit of cash going out this time period. The biggest one is for the Amalgamated Bank of Chicago, 1.4 million. It is for the 2022 A and B series bonds payments. In addition to that, there's $680,000 walk project. The $449,000 is going out to Irma Intergovernmental. That is payment in full for our workers' comp. Partial payment for the property and liability. You may recall our existing policy runs through, I believe it's through April 30th, so this would be for May 1st through the end of the calendar year. And then this is for, in addition, the tail coverage that we are adding, which takes effect May 1st of 2025. In addition, $171,000 for DuPage Water for December water and $75,000 for December trash services pertaining to Republic. We then have normal payroll expenses, $275, bank drafts for both the retirement and medical funds, totaling about $180,000. And then there was a manual check you may have noticed in there. That is for the police special unit vehicle we spoke about, I think, 2 meetings ago. Are there any questions on the record of bills?
There does not appear to be any questions, trustee Powers.
Then I'd like to make a motion for the payment of record of bills totaling $3,511,537.15.
That is a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Powers.
For,
Ayani.
4.
Bailey. Cavanagh absent. Leahy.
4.
Maderas.
4.
thank you, Mayor.
And trustee Powers, I think you just made trustee Ianni happy because this, I think, now is the is the record for a record of bills for one payment period. So trustee Ianni held that record for several years, and it's now no longer his.
Sorry, Jeff.
It's okay. It's okay.
Is there any new business to come before the board? Any old business? Okay, we'll go to department head reports. Bob?
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Mark?
No report.
Deanne?
Yay.
Carrie Ann, it's all on you.
Unfortunately, I cannot say no report today. We have a few things that I think is worth noting and just pointing out for the board. First of all, Orchard and Maple, that project is getting underway. You might want to, the holiday project, you might see that the fence went up, demolition is forthcoming when the weather breaks a little bit, and you know, that project is moving forward. At the same time, we have been meeting with the contractor for the village. Why can't I think of their name right now? Help me out. Hitchcock, thank you, about potential streetscape designs. And so we're setting what would be kind of some minimum standards, including probably the most important thing that the staff has heard during the downtown planning process is that that walkway is pretty narrow. So we're looking at ways that we might be able to expand that walkway and what opportunities while we do that streetscape project. We have had a few water main breaks, so if you see somebody from that team, you might want to just say thank you to them, because as you can imagine, being in a hole with water spraying out when it's 1 degree is not pleasant. It's funny, I say, you know, a lot of people say, oh, the worst job in the village is, you know, the working at the wastewater treatment plant. And I said, not when it's freezing and you're having to fix a water main break. It's a rough job. So if you see those guys, make sure and they're all guys, so I can say that confidently.
Yeah.
Right now they're all guys. Make sure to give them their due. I do have Stericycle, if you remember, that we've been kind of going back and forth with on an agreement. They're going to need to do a siting hearing here in the village for a facility that they have that was actually it did not go through the siting when it came into the village, not because anybody here at the village did anything wrong, but the state missed that process. So they're having to go back around and do it. And I expect that that's going to be coming forth this spring. And we continue to have meetings with them about that. And I just want to let you know that Jennifer Sackett-Pullins, who deals with a lot of our environmental legal, she is assisting staff in that matter. Last week, we did attend both Trustee Cavanagh, Mayor Prine, and I, the DMMC legislative dinner where we met with the various legislators. Both our state legislators were present at that event, and so that was positive. District 1 meeting also, which is the county representatives, occurred last week. The mayor was there and represented the village to that. The waste and recycling contract, we've asked, it's up at the end of the year in November, so we've already reached out and asked for a proposal. We should be receiving that, I believe, at the end of this week. That gives us enough time if we don't like the proposal. The idea would be is that, you know, we did go out for RFP several years ago. The the landscape in waste and recycling right now is that if we were to go and do an RFP, it is very unlikely that we will keep our day or level of service. So we give our current vendor a chance to kind of come back to us first with their proposals so that we don't change, unnecessarily change for our residents. So we've done that, and we should get something, even though it's not up until the end of the year, within the next week. I think we have a meeting on Friday, within the next week. We continue to do a search for a CD director. 4th of July, we've had a couple meetings about that, and we continue to explore ways. Obviously, this last year, the board knows that it has grown to the level that it was disruptive to several of our resident areas, and we want to make sure that that doesn't happen this coming year. So we're exploring all the options for that, and Hamilton has been a party to that conversation. And internally, CIP reviews start this week, so all departments have submitted their CIP requests already, and we will be vetting them internally between finance administration and the department. So those are some key things that are going on, again, right now that I wanted you to be aware of. That's my report. Thank you.
Jody?
No report.
Chuck?
No report.
All right. Do we need a closed session this evening? Okay. If there's nothing else to come before the board, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Ayani. Daly. Cavanis absent. Leahy.
4.
Maderas.
4.
Powers.
Or
Feel better.
Okay.
all right, thank you, everyone. Is there a meeting next Tuesday?
No, there is not.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Stay warm, everybody.